Welcome to the 60 Plus podcast.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Joe. How are you today, Janet? I'm afraid to ask.
Don't be afraid.
How are you today,
It's
Janet?
fine. The water's safe.
Okay, all right, good.
No, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Post-Thanksgiving kind of,
Uh,
yeah. A post-Thanksgiving,
yeah, I think I still have the tryptophan effect from the turkey.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Sure. How was yours?
It was very nice. I spent it with my daughter and her new husband
Ooh,
and my
me
other daughter
too. I know I didn't spend it with your daughter. I spent it with my daughter and her
and
husband.
her new husband.
Yes.
So it was different. They were so cute trying to host. We were supposed to eat at 4 and we ended up
Right.
eating at 6.
Uh-huh.
It was very nice. I really enjoyed it, and they did a great job.
That's great.
I had to travel, though.
Oh,
I don't love the travel part.
I only had to drive like a half an hour.
Yeah, I had
That
to.
was good. And I didn't have to cook. That was great.
And you got leftovers.
And I got leftovers. I
That
had
was-
so many leftovers, I had a party.
You did.
I did.
It was a party of leftovers, and she has
Yes.
leftovers from the leftover party.
Yes. It's going to go on. It's a domino effect. It'll snowball.
So now we're in the Christmas season.
La 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 la.
Okay, check that box. Janet sings on every episode. What are we talking about today, Janet?
Retirement.
Ah,
Yes.
that elusive
Yes.
thing.
Retire or not to retire? That is the question.
It is a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be talking today about how you know you're ready to retire.
Right. And we recognize that this has several parts. There are, different factors. Financial may certainly be one factor, but we're not going to be talking about that today.
Not
right,
too
Joe?
much.
No. In fact, this is almost like a two-part series.
In the next episode, we'll be talking about the financial aspects of how you know you're ready to retire.
Right.
And today we're going to talk about some other things about it.
And we'll be talking to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, not us.
So today we're just talking about the emotional aspects, which I guess we know something about that.
Emotions?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Well, I think this is something that's less discussed and thought about. A number of years ago, a friend of mine said to me that he knew a guy that retired early and he was bored. And I
Mm.
actually have a friend that retired early and was bored and went back to work.
Wow.
And
I don't think that's going to be me.
no, well, I mean, this was a number of years ago for both of these people. But you need to be ready for retirement, not just financially, but emotionally. And you need to have your social circles intact. And there's all kinds of things involved
Right.
besides just the financial aspects.
Right. And, talking to Jeannie last week, she was talking about how she just retired about a year ago
hmm
and how busy she is. And people are like, oh, yeah, sure. Don't believe her. So I guess it really is a personal journey, right? Like anything else in life. But yeah, I think that our attempt today is just to maybe give some food for thought in terms of, are you emotionally prepared to retire?
So, what are some of the things that you need to be aware of?
We came across this article. It doesn't talk about any of the financial aspects, but there's top emotional signs that it's time to retire. 5 that they list. And one is you can't wait to retire.
So, I think a lot of people think they can't wait to retire.
Yeah, you'll say, oh, gosh, I can't wait to retire. I've never really felt that way until recently. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready now.
Really.
Yeah.
There's one thing about that, though, and I know some people that might fall into this category. So much of their identity is tied up in their work life and their profession that to say, well, I can't wait to retire, what is that going to do to your identity? How are you going to feel about yourself after you retire when you don't have that big part of your identity?
I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it that way.
I don't know if that applies to you.
I don't think so.
I have worked with people that, their whole life is their job.
Right.
I don't-
Yeah, that's
I kind
not.
of feel bad. I kind of feel bad for those people.
Well, if their whole life is their job and they can't wait to retire, yeah, I guess I would feel badly for them. If their whole life is their job and they wake up every day and they can't wait to do it, then I don't feel sorry for them.
I've kind of never been that way. I do know people that they get up in the morning, they can't wait to get to work. And in some ways, I've been jealous of them. I wish I felt a little bit more like that, but I didn't.
Well, maybe you just didn't have the right job.
Yeah.
I bet you can't wait to do the podcast.
I can't wait. We sat around an hour before we started
Doing
recording. It's like
absolutely nothing.
it's time to record, Janet.
We should probably talk about retirement
We
because,
should.
we've gotten some feedback that we do stray off subject sometimes.
Once in a while. All right. So something else is you don't enjoy your work anymore.
Right, which is kind of tied to what we were talking about, right?
Mhm.
And if, I guess that's tied to number one, right? If you don't enjoy your work anymore and it's not giving you any kind of fulfillment, then really what are you losing in identity, right? You kind of can't wait to shed that part of your life or that part of your identity. So life is so short, as we know.
Getting shorter every day.
Stop.
Well,
Don't talk that way. But anyway, if you are not enjoying that 8 or 10 hours or God knows how many hours per day that you are working, then you're sleeping for like another 8 hours. So what do you have, like a couple good hours every day? That,
And if you're commuting
yeah.
or traveling on business. I
Wow.
remember when I used to
I'm
travel on
getting
business
depressed.
quite a bit. I traveled on business quite a bit. Not like every week. I have friends that did that, but
Yeah.
there were times when I would travel 1 week out of the month.
Yeah. I always like to travel for business.
You worked for a company that paid for your travel.
Well, yes, that is true.
I-
You had to pay for your own
I
travel.
didn't pay for my own, but they didn't pay what they should have been paying. We
I
were
see.
we
So
were
you were like
in
staying at the motel, like.
both companies that I traveled a lot for were close to startup phase. They
Mhm.
weren't true startups, but they were close to that. So we weren't staying in 5-star hotels. And
Right.
I once had a comptroller reduce my mileage by 1 mile on my expense
Oh
report.
my gosh. Now, that person probably loves to go to work every day.
How-
It's like, ooh, I found something, a whole entire mile.
I
That
think
was like probably at that time worth like
29 and a half cents. I remember it was 29 and a half cents.
29 and a half.
Mhm.
Let's not forget
If it was
the
only
half.
29, he would have let it slide.
Yeah,
but-
probably.
All right. But there's something else about the social side of retirement. And a lot of people, their social lives are very tied to their work life.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I've had jobs where I've stayed because of the people. Like my relationships and friendships at work kept me there for longer than I would have normally been,
That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, it wasn't, it
Not
wasn't
really
a problem per
but it's
se.
a nice situation to
Yeah.
be in.
Yeah, I mean, you looked forward to going to work because of the people that you worked with, not necessarily the people that you worked for.
I have a good friend who he and I worked together for about 10 years, and we still reminisce about that company because it was so quirky. This was the 29 and a half cent company.
Right.
It was so quirky. We just really enjoyed talking about some of the weird things that happened at that company.
Yeah, it's
And
fun.
the people were a big reason why I did stay.
Right, memory lane. So the third thing of top emotional signs that it's time to retire is you feel like work is in the way.
Isn't it always the case to a degree, though?
I don't know because to your earlier point, there are people who retire and then they just sit around.
Well, that's
They
true.
don't do anything. I don't think I'm going to have this problem at all.
Okay. What are you going to do?
I mean, I do kind of feel.
say tomorrow you woke up and you were retired. What
What
would you
would I do differently, or what would I do?
What would you do differently?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't have to worry about getting to work or what I was doing that day, and I wouldn't have as much of an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't feel any time pressure. I don't know if, like, the next day I would do something differently. I think I would just do things that I love to do more slowly.
Chew your food 20 times.
No, like instead of like downing your coffee and getting in the shower or whatever it is, you can. Although I don't really do that now, to be quite honest with you, I do get up early.
You don't take a
and
shower?
No, I'm not saying that, Joe. You have to listen.
I was listening.
What I'm saying is that I do get up early and I do like to kind of ease into the day. So I will drink my coffee and by, the window or whatever and look at the people going by. That sounds so old.
Well, if you weren't sitting on a rocking chair on your front porch with a shawl over your lap.
That is not what I do.
Yes, it is. Everyone knows it.
Shh, don't
You
tell
get a
anybody.
little Irish whiskey in the coffee, too.
No, Bailey's.
Oh, Bailey's. Okay. Well, it's
Oh my
Irish anyway.
goodness.
All right. So if work is getting in the way of what you want to do, so a lot of people will say, when I retire, I want to travel. Like
Mm,
Nadine was on a number of weeks ago,
right.
and she goes someplace every month.
Yeah, she actually does what she says
Once a
she's
month,
going
she
to do.
travels.
But then Jeannie was saying that she hadn't done the things that she thought she was going to do once she retired. It's a year into it. And she was like, the first 6 months are just going to be vacation. And now she's like, and I'm still on vacation. Like everybody's going to be different. I mean, I have my creative pursuits that I want to spend more time on. And so that is a big time crunch for me now.
Okay. You're not going to go golfing or fishing or.
I do golf actually, but not happily. Fishing, I have a fishing pole and I am ready to surf cast.
You're ready.
I'm ready. I haven't done it yet. See, that's something I can do when I retire.
Work's getting in the way.
Work is getting away of my surf casting.
When you go surf casting and you catch fish, are you going to bring them to your neighbors?
Yes.
You will.
Yes, because I want them to fillet them.
You just want to catch it. You don't want the yucky part.
No.
Okay.
I don't even want to put, I'm not putting a worm on the hook.
No.
I'm going to use clams. I can deal with putting a clam on a hook.
Okay. I'm not quite sure what the big difference is.
Clams? Well, you pick them up to eat them. You don't pick, well, maybe you do. I don't eat worms. I don't know about you. You don't pick them up to eat. And they wiggle. Clams don't wiggle.
Okay.
Okay,
We've
off
gone
topic.
far afield.
All right, we have to get back to the list.
All right. So number 4 on the list is you feel left behind.
I don't know what that means.
So I was just at my daughter's for Thanksgiving. Their entire refrigerator is covered with save the date cards, wedding invitations, and baby pictures. I think we're at that time of life now where we don't have wedding invitations on our refrigerators, but our friends are retiring or talking about retirement.
Right. It's a big milestone for us. And
It is. And I have a number of friends that have retired or will be soon. And
you want to go golfing with them.
they don't want to go golfing with me.
But yeah, okay, so I see the point. It's like, oh, everybody's traveling and everybody's retired and everybody's drinking coffee in their rocking chair
with a
by
shawl
the
on their
window.
lap.
I want to do that.
You want to do that?
No, that's what I'm just
Oh, okay,
mimicking
so-
what you might be thinking.
So that's how some
Feeling
people
left
might feel left behind in their social circle. They may be at a company where they've worked for years, and the people that they started with or have worked with for years are now
Yes,
retiring
and
as
now
well.
they're really being left behind. They're being abandoned. That's terrible.
All right. So that can be something that kind of makes you say, do I feel like I'm being left behind? Are other people moving on to the next phase of life and I'm still here?
More and more, I have to tell you that people are saying 62, that's it. 62, I'm done. They're not going beyond fully fledged Social Security or I think it's 67.
For people born in 1960 and after, full retirement age is 67 years old.
Correct. Yeah, I think more and more people are just saying, hey, life is short. Maybe the pandemic had something to do with that.
I was just going to say that.
I think that gave us all a flavor of what it's like to be in a situation that you can't control, and we're all sort of traumatized by it. And, it's time to get on with it and enjoy your time. Now, if you enjoy work and you enjoy working and you're still getting a lot out of that, and as you say, that's a big part of your value system, then retirement's not for you. I have a friend she's in her 70s now. She's like, I'm never retiring. She never wants to retire.
I know people like that. They really enjoy working.
Yep.
They say, what would I do with all my time? And they generally tend to be people that don't really have hobbies.
Hmm.
They don't, their life is work.
Well, and this is not that case. I mean, she golfs, she travels, although she has been saying that she wants to travel less, like she's done it and there type of thing. So I don't know. She just gets a
There's
lot out of
always someplace
work.
else to go.
I agree.
Hmm. Nadine would agree with you as well.
Yeah.
Once a month, she's off somewhere.
No, I love that. I definitely plan on traveling more.
All right, this is an important one. If you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship, it's important that you and your partner are both on the same page. And it doesn't necessarily mean you both have to retire at the same time, I don't think. Although that would be nice. You kind of have to both be on the same page about
Yeah.
each person retiring when they want to
Well,
retire.
I'm sure there's financial implications as well, and we will learn more about that with our guest speaker next week. Is it also on the same page in terms of how you're going to spend your time together? Do you almost have to renegotiate the relationship? I mean, if you've both been working, or if one of you's been working, then you've had some time apart, right?
Hmm.
How does that work if you're both retired and you're now seeing
Not.
a lot of each other? I mean, I can recall in the past having people say, women especially, that their husband is retired and they're like, he's driving me crazy. He follows me around the house. I have to leave. I have to get out because
That's just a little sad, though.
it is. Yeah. So I think maybe it's that moment in time again to have some understanding. And to your point, being on the same page.
Hmm.
I guess it's all about communication, Joe.
Well, that's kind of my bugaboo about relationships is communication is important.
Mm-hmm.
I say it all the time.
Yeah, you're so wise.
I am. I'm wise beyond my years, Janet. So, the same article from betterup.com. The first stage is imagination, and that's when you're kind of dreaming about retirement. I think this is the stage you're in, actually.
Oh, yes. I'm doing a lot of dreaming.
And this is when you're late in your career. It's not really a reality yet, but you're close enough to say,
Mm-hmm.
all those things, work's getting in the way. I'd like to be doing this. Boy,
Mm-hmm.
I joined the country club years ago and I only play once a week. Boy, I'd love to play 3 times a week. I'd love to go on a 2-week trip.
Okay, I'm not saying that part, but yeah, I get what your point is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And I'm also like, can I?
well, that's the financial side,
Right, which
right?
is what we're going to do
Mhm.
next week.
The next phase of retirement, the next stage of retirement is anticipation.
Anticipation.
You're only required to sing once.
Oh,
during
I
an
already
episode.
did it.
You
I'm
did.
sorry.
We might have to edit that out.
No.
So, as you're getting very close to retirement, it starts to feel more real.
Mm-hmm.
It's right in front of you. You have friends that are retiring.
You're planning your party.
But for some people, according to this article, it triggers a bit of an identity crisis.
Okay. If
Well,
you say so. I think it's only one aspect of me that's going to go away,
right.
All the other personalities are still going to thrive.
Okay. Are they?
I hope so.
Are they? Well, and there'll be the surf casting. So that will make up for all the rest of
Right,
it. Yeah.
exactly.
All right. So personally, I don't see an identity crisis about it.
No.
It'd be great.
No. I mean, I'll miss aspects of it.
You miss some of the people that you work with.
Yeah.
If you still like your job, if you still like the content of your work, there's that challenge that you have to overcome in work.
Yeah, and I learn a lot too in my job because I'm always researching. Will I continue to do that? I probably not as much, certainly. I'll be
No.
researching other stuff.
So those 2 phases of retirement are actually pre-retirement. They're not really even while you're retired.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is the first stage of actual retirement, and that's liberation.
Oh, that wasn't qualified as singing.
I was going to say, it was close. There's some structure there, and your time isn't your own. For a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people. Some people don't have that, but for many people, your time isn't your own when you're at work. And there is that liberation, and it kind of feels like a vacation almost.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like I was saying before. You can slow it down, right? It's not, speedy.
The next phase, they say, is called reorientation. And
Tell me more.
you get used to your new lifestyle. You're starting to acclimate to this
Mhm.
maybe slower pace or less structure.
So maybe this
And
is like a year into it or
well,
something.
isn't that what Jean said last
Yeah,
week?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was about a year into it
Mm-hmm.
when she kind of felt like it wasn't vacation anymore, right?
Right.
And you kind of fitting into that new lifestyle where I don't have to get up and go to work. I don't have to go to that meeting. I don't have to go to the factory. I don't have to do this.
Right.
And it takes a
But
while. I've had vacations where, like a 2-week vacation, the whole first week is kind of winding down. I still feel
right.
energized from work, and I couldn't slow down
And
to.
just when you're about to relax, you have to go
Then you
back
have to
to
go back to 10,000
Now
emails.
with
And
retirement, you won't have to go back. You could just be in relaxation mode.
the fifth stage, according to this article at betterup.com, is called reconciliation.
Hmm.
This sounds like the 5 stages of grief or
Or
something.
relationships.
Oh. And that's when you really fully embrace retirement.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten used to it. You're kind of in that mode. Whatever your retirement is like, whether you're a traveler or a golfer or a fisher or a guy that sits on the couch, you've embraced it and you've kind of fully acclimated to that new lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the timeline would be personal again. How quickly you go through these phases.
Yeah, this article says it happens several years into retirement. It takes that long to get used to retirement. Who knew?
Wow. I guess I better get started.
No time like the present, Janet.
Yes. I'm
So-
going to call my employer tomorrow.
Are you really?
No.
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 And if anyone from Janet's workplace is listening, she's just kidding. I think this part of retirement, deciding to retire, is lesser discussed and lesser thought about than the financial aspects. Everyone seems to focus, at least the people I know, they seem to focus much more on the
Well,
financial
that's the
side.
burning question, right? Can I retire?
Right.
Like, can I do it? It's a practical matter there.
And it's an important practical matter,
Hmm.
right?
But, life is unpredictable, and we have to make the best choices for ourselves that we have with the information that we have when we are making those decisions.
Isn't that true about so many things?
So many.
So many things.
So many, Joe.
All right. Next time, we're going to be talking about financial aspects of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And until then, this has been the 60 Plus Podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.